this Village Greenhills Council meeting in order for June 24th, 2025. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Porter.
Here.
Ms. Walker. Here. Ms. Hudson.
Here.
Mr. Coulter.
Here.
Ms. Hermes.
Here.
Mr. Lee.
Here.
Mayor Moore.
Here. Okay, we have a prayer by Miriam Walter.
Dear Lord, we thank you for the men and women in our armed forces who work to protect our country. Please keep them safe as they carry out their duties. Being away from home is hard on them, and we ask that you give them strength and courage. Bring them back to us safe and sound. Also, our own police force and our own fire department. Please keep an eye on them so they will be home to their families. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have the minutes of previous council meetings of May 27th, 2025, and council work session meeting of June 10th, 2025. Minutes will stand approved unless there are any changes. Hearing none. Public presentations. The fire chief has got an issue and he's maybe late. So he comes in, we'll see if we can accommodate him. In the meantime, we do have our public library representative, Jennifer Weichert.
Well, hope everyone is staying cool. But I did also want to share that the library is a cool place to be. We are actually a place where you can come in if you need relief from the heat for any reason. Any of our normal open hours there has been working very well, and that's at all of our locations. So come on in. I mean, it's not just air conditioning as well. We have access to the computers. We can help with finding a book. We can help you discover one of our databases. Like, the library has lots of cool things to find out about. All through, discovery. We want to be a cool place of limitless learning where everyone is welcome. Also, wanted to say it's not too late to join our summer reading program yet. It runs all the way until July 31st. And for kids to complete it, they only need 25 days to take their track down the river. And all of the libraries, including Greenhills, have the trackers that you can come and pick it up. And if you've lost yours, just stop back in. We'll be happy to give you a new one. We know these things certainly go around. But when you sign up, you get a book, and that's yours to keep. And then you also get a free Reds ticket voucher while supplies last. And kids can earn a free Cane's chicken coupon if they get halfway through the tracker to day 17. And if you've already raced through all of it and you're ready for the next challenge, you can pick up a bonus tracker, and we will be happy to help you keep the fun going. But you can earn some fun completion prizes as well as getting your book and Reds ticket when you sign up. So there is sidewalk chalk. There are water bottle stickers. There are fidget balls that you can pop in and out. It can be fun. And the coolest of all, So it's a lot of fun. We also have like a lot of different programs, and each of the libraries will have their own programs as well. Another way of staying cool is coming. We had creepy crawlies earlier today. So we learned all about all kinds of different worms and insects, and we met Bob the hissing cockroach. I did not pet Bob, but Amy, the children's librarian, was much braver than I was today. Also, we do another cool thing that we do is free printing at the library. I know that that's a popular one, but people still don't always know that. So it continues to be $5 worth of free printing per person every day. And that's the equivalent of 33 black and white copies or printouts or 20 color copies. And that's per side of paper, not per piece of paper. But we can, after that, it's 15 cents a page for black and white, 25 cents for color. But scanning and faxing, scanning to email are free. They always have been. And our computer can turn a paper document into a PDF so that you can share that through email. Or we can certainly help with, JFS is a partner that we work with a lot, but we can fax anywhere in the United States for you as well. Also, this will not surprise anyone, the library is closed on the 4th of July. However, all of our digital resources are available 24/7, so if you find out about this fantastic book, just go on Libby or any of our other ones and put it on hold, or we'll see if it's available and you can have it right then. We also have a bunch of programs, cool things to do at the library. So we've got family story times on Mondays at 10:30, our adult story time for adults with developmental disabilities at 11:30. That one's sign up required so we can have enough chairs set up and everything. Our youth drawing club continues on Mondays at 4:30 p.m. And our Quick Quest craft or activity program for kids is on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. And then we're on July 1st, we're having a bubble bash for all ages at 2 p.m. We're going to have our Secrets of Spice Club, where you get the sample of an herb or a spice and some recipes, and discuss how to use it. If you did the last months, you can also say if you like the recipe or not. They did dill last time. And mint is coming up. That's on Tuesday, July 1st at 6:30. Teens can make dragon eggs on Tuesday, July 8th at 2 p.m. Animals Alive is on, the parks will bring a selection of real animals. Don't know what they are. They always have different ones to surprise us with. And that's for all ages on July 9th at 2 p.m. Battle of the Tarts, which is tasting different flavors of Pop-Tarts, is for youth ages 10 to 15 on Wednesday, July 16th. We've also got Tape It and Paint It on Thursday, July 17th at 2 p.m. for kids 9 to 14. That one we have limited space, so please sign up. The Dragon Egg is also a sign-up one. Classic Movie Club on July 19th at 11 a.m. Our Mystery Book Club on July 21st at 6:30 p.m. I did not know this, but you can use temporary tattoos on rocks. So we're going to do rock tattooing on Tuesday, July 22nd at 2 p.m. for youth 10 to 18-ish. And that's just, some fun. I really want to try that one myself. Looney Balloony is a balloon artist, and she will be at the library on Wednesday, July 23rd at 11 a.m. for all ages. A history lecture from the Cincinnati Museum Center is Rolling on the River on Wednesday, July 23rd at 6:30 p.m. and that one's all the different ways of transportation we've ever used up and down the river. So that should be fun. We're going to be doing Genius Creations on Saturday, July 26th at 2 p.m., which is making these little pins. And that is a sign up as well. And the last one is that the Cincinnati Museum Center is also bringing awesome animal adaptations on July 31st at 2 p.m. for kids, and that one has limited space, so please do go online to sign up, or you can call us at the library at any point, and we'd be more than happy to help you with that.
Jennifer, like always, thank you so much for everything you do, because you do so much with the kids during the vacation times, and that's a crucial time to keep them busy and learning, even though it's vacation time.
That's our summer reading. We definitely want to keep the kids engaged in learning and having fun also.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
And when you get to the spice, saffron, I might be your person.
I will be more than happy to take you up on that when we get there.
All right.
Okay, moving on, reports of municipal officials. Von Kovac, Municipal Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to mention first about a couple of our road projects that are going on right now. Farragut Ingram, if you live in that area or you drive there regularly, I just want to be sure you know that the project has not been completed yet. They pulled signs away from there just to let people park while they do the full depth repair. We also encountered an issue with a storm sewer further up near Bargains and Buyouts. That's going to take a little bit of time to fix, but do know that at some point those signs will go back there. They're moving pretty quickly though on when they've already done the milling, and I think they'll have two more coats to do. So we're still hoping to make our deadline, but do realize that the road is still under construction. So
And then Damon, Cromwell, and Springdale, the surveyor has been out there now for the second week. That should be wrapping up fairly soon, and then they can start the plans for that project, which has been funded and will occur next year. I want to mention that we did get our bids for the park path, and in fact, I know council's been very anxious to do this, so we just got our approval from the county to proceed with it yesterday. So I asked Mr. Forbes at the mayor's request to go ahead and do a resolution in case you'd be willing to put it on your agenda and pass it tonight. Once that's passed, we can set up the pre-construction meeting and get a date for actual construction to start. So maybe we'll have a path yet this summer. That would be great. So later on, if you're willing to add that to your agenda, that would be great. I also want to let you know that the Hamilton County Community Development Office is going to be moving some money from previous years into our park project as well. So we're pretty excited about that. You will recall we did have the home improvement program, and now instead of that, that office has funded a countywide repair program through LISC, Local Initiative Support Corporation. So I will be getting some information on that and get that out to our residents who might have an interest in that program. So I want to let you know that's happening, and we appreciate them moving that money to our park path. There were a few things that I want to go back over on the tax budget, which is on the agenda tonight for passage. We did have a public hearing. There were some comments made that were not accurate, and I just want to be sure the right information is out there. One involves the rec levy. That would be, there was an assumption that it would be calculated on the newer, higher values. That one will not. That's a much older recreation levy, and that will be based on the dollar amount again, which is about $37,000 annually. That won't change. Another one had to do with the formation, whether or not we have a recreation commission. It was stated that that should be a continuing commission, and per our charter, it is not a continuing commission. So I wanted to be sure what that means. What that means is if we don't have it in place, we put it in place when we need it and want it. So it doesn't have to be ongoing. A couple more things. And then I want to ask Finance Director to talk a little bit. There was a reference to $234,000 to Spoils Field. I have no idea where that figure came from, because that's nowhere close to Spoils Field's appropriation, which is probably, I don't hear that right off, but I'm going to guess somewhere around 70 or 80,000. That's a self-sustaining, whatever they make is what they have in their account. We do not put any general fund into that. So. Not sure where that came from. And let's see, I think I will go ahead and turn it over to Deb for a few, if you could correct some things so we get the accurate information out there. That'd be great.
Okay, thank you, Yvonne. Yes, I wanted, for the record, I wanted to make some corrections. The first one I wanted to mention was about the tax budget public hearing publication for last year, not this year, but for 2024. There was a statement made that it was not timely last year. In fact, it was timely. The affidavit of publication from the publisher was dated June 7th, 2024. Our public hearing was June 11th, 2024. That is 4 to 5 days before the hearing. That falls completely within the legal timeline of publication. So the publication, for the record, was timely as usual. There was also another public comment made about the village not using GAAP, and that our accounting perhaps falls short because we don't use GAAP. And this is not correct at all for the record. There are two main types of accounting reporting: GAAP, of course, which is accrual-based accounting, and non-GAAP. And both are perfectly acceptable forms of reporting by the Auditor of State. The choice depends on the needs and the regulatory requirements and the criteria that best fits the entity. For example, GAAP is used more for public corporations when they have investments and large municipalities. Non-GAAP is for small businesses and small government, and of course, which we are a small government. And then there was also a mention about an independent auditor versus Auditor of State. For the record, of course, we use both. An independent auditor and Auditor of State. The Auditor of State dictates whether they will go out to bid for us to find independent auditors. Some years they do not choose, any independent auditors don't choose to do that because we are small. And when they don't choose that, the Auditor of State steps back in and performs the audit for it. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
appreciate that. There's just one more thing I'd like to mention. We had talked at one of our previous meetings about having our clerk of council available for committee minutes, council committee minutes, and I had a chance to talk to her. What would work out best for her would be on Tuesdays, like prior to our council meeting and our work session. So just be aware of that when we set it up. We tend to have one like at 5:30 and 6. We could add one at 5 and, alternate. Somehow just keep that in mind on her availability when you're setting up your meetings.
Yes. I have a question. Is there going to be something done in the streets that have some holes on it before we have the actual, the mammoth amount of refurbishing the street of Damon and Springdale Road and Cornwall? Are we going to have someone filling up the holes or anything like that before the winter
Potholes?
comes?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a schedule for that?
Not right now.
needed.
Yeah, and
Okay,
as they're available to do it, they're,
Okay. No, usually
Very busy
they
right
get
now.
the materials and it's all done at one time.
Right.
right.
Okay, have you
Yeah.
been receiving anything, or would you be willing to receive someone calling and telling you where is needed?
You can do that, but I'm sure Mike has a pretty
Okay.
complex
I'm
list,
just getting some
pretty
of the
complete
people
list.
stopping by and saying that when they're
Right.
coming into Greenhills from Springdale Road, there's a severe one there.
Mhm.
There's several ones on Damon, there's someone from one, not as much.
Right.
But it seems like Damon is very much transited
Mhm.
because of Springdale Road, so one of them is a fairly large one.
Okay.
So I just,
I'll
I don't know how
See if I
that's.
can get a time frame.
Yes, I appreciate that, thank you.
Don't know it, okay.
All right. Law Director Jeff Forbes.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one item to bring up, and I think this was introduced since our last, well, I know it was introduced since our last meeting, but you may have become aware of it. But House Bill 335 was introduced at the beginning of June, and it has now been referred to a committee, and it has kind of stalled out there. The last I heard is that it may get back into some committee action after their summer recess. But what you need to know about House Bill 335 is that it proposes to do away with inside millage for, well, essentially for all local governments, villages, cities. Townships get to keep it, but only at the level that it was in 2024. So it can, they're locked in at that level, essentially, well, I guess until there's another change in that law. But it's important to be aware of it because if you're not aware, most local governments, that's a significant portion of their revenue. Most of it is already dedicated or committed to providing services, bond payments. It's a critical piece of revenue for local governments, and this bill would would just remove it, take it away. So there's been, when I just looked, there's been at least one committee meeting. There was one proponent testimony, and then there were probably, I don't know, 50 or 75 opponent people there to testify. The Ohio Municipal League is taking a pretty hard stance against this, although they did not get a chance to testify. As I read it, they ran out of time, so I'm sure they'll schedule additional hearings for opponent testimony. But that's it. That's the big one. I'm continuing to track all the bills of municipal interest that we talk about, and really none of them are very close to being adopted. So we'll track it through this process and report when there's something to report. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Clerk of Council, Teresa Lawley.
Nothing, Mayor.
Chief of Police, Jim Howard.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just going to hit a few highlights, and I didn't get the newsletter on the website today. It'll be out tomorrow, so there'll be more stuff in detail that I kind of touch base on. First, for those that weren't tuned in last month, Hugh Watson, American Legion, Post 530, donated a nice, generous donation to the police department. I just want to once again publicly thank them for the donation. Just want to remind people, because we won't be back until after then, the 4th of July is coming up. Not everybody, I still don't think, is aware that there are fireworks that are legal now in the state of Ohio during certain holidays. The 4th of July, it consists actually of the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th, and then consists of the Saturday and Sunday before the holiday and the Saturday and Sunday after the holiday. So 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. So in my newsletter, I will, naturally we recommend, and I'm sure fire would too, leave the fireworks up to the professionals. In there, you'll be able to click a link that gives you all the places in the city that have professional fireworks shows, so we recommend people hitting those. Also, there'll be a link for the Department of Commerce website, which goes through if you decide that you're going to use them. It's not like, okay, now we can use them. There are regulations still that you got to abide by that we can enforce. So I encourage people, consider your neighbors. We got veterans out there, as we all know, that that can disturb, rightfully so, animals. So just please, we will respond to them if we get calls, because as any other kind of complaint we get in the village, we're going to call and respond to. Some people think it's an offense and we can arrest somebody for it. They're not quite aware that it is legal to shoot them off. But we will respond to the calls and talk to the people and make sure they're in compliance with the law and what they're doing. I'm sure the fire chief is here to tell you as hot as it's been. If it's continues to be this hot, you got concerns about grass, trees, and so forth too. So please be with that. I'd just like to remind people we have the drug drop-off box in our lobby. It's used quite frequently, but I don't know if everybody knows that we have it. So during business hours, I say business hours because sometimes you might come up here after business hours and the officer's not here and you need to get access into the lobby to actually do it. So if you catch an officer here, you still might be able to do it after hours, but for sure during business hours, you'll be able to. The big thing to remember is no liquids and no needles, syringes. So just make sure before you get up here that you actually take those things out, because they cannot go into the box that we unlock for you to put them in a secured box. Also, no pill bottles either. So just take all your pills, dump them in a Ziploc bag, plastic bag, zip it up, and then you can just discard that in there. But it's a great. We send lots of pounds to be disposed of through an incinerator and stuff. Keeps it out of waterways, keeps it out of hands of maybe kids that might get a hold of some pills. I think we've all had those surgeries where you got one or two. You take one the first day you get home to get you through the night after surgery, and then you got 29 left. So we just ask people and let them know that service is out there. We were named for the month of June Agency of the Month, awarded by the Ohio Association of Chiefs of Police and Law Enforcement Foundation for our community engagement efforts throughout the community. primarily this being the Building Bridges program that we have going on right now, which continues to be a great success. We actually had the most this past Sunday than we've ever had a lot of new faces. We actually also had a generous donor that wants to provide 25 meals, take everybody to a restaurant and pick up the tab, and actually have a dinner with them. I don't know too many places that we can take in 25 kids plus some adults, so we asked them, and it sounds like they want to have Chipotle catered in, so, which is a good thing. So we're looking forward to that. As for getting that Agency of the Month for the month of June, the Law Enforcement Foundation donates $200 towards the program. So we've so far got $1,200 through grants for that donation, and another $1,000 donation towards that program to help out with offsetting costs. So we appreciate that. Also, we're in the process of firearm transition. Our last firearms were purchased in 2013. We're transitioning from the 40 millimeter to the 9 millimeter. It was in the budget this year. They just came in, so we're actually the first one qualified with it today. So the officers will be going through the transitional phase, and once they're certified, go through the qualification course through the state after firing it. It is a little different. It's got optics on it now, which helps a better field of view, low light situations, accuracy is a lot better. It's one of those things we pray we never need, but the cost of it as far as the ammunition, the 40 millimeter, got very expensive. The 9 millimeter is a lot more affordable, where we can actually train a little bit more with it. And we were fortunate that the company we went through, which is a large distributor around here, after getting some quotes, purchased our old firearms back at a really nice rate, a lot better than a lot of the other companies did, which gave us a significant saving in offsetting the cost. So we're grateful for that. Also, since I'm talking about guns, we have free gun locks. I put it out there before, but just to remind people, all they have to do is come up here to the lobby. We'll give them a free gun lock for a firearm. We've all seen it probably a month ago now, a 2-year-old accidentally. I mean, really, there's no reason, that should happen. It's a sad situation. So please take advantage of that. Stop up anytime. Feel free to give you a gun lock to secure your firearm. Game time with GPD. I know y'all were aware it was canceled 2 weeks ago. It's coming up this coming Saturday. Heat advisory so far looks like it might be lifted by then. So that would be the only thing that would hold us back. So noon to 3 p.m. Away shelter starts at noon. We'll have kids, games, board games, kickball, cornhole, basketball. So come up, have a good time. Pizza will be served at 3. No, at noon. It goes till 3. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to point out the library also offers free gun locks, so if
Yeah,
a police officer is not available for any reason, if you stop in for us, anybody 18 or over can get one.
I apologize.
No.
I forgot to mention that because we gave some there.
Thank you.
The other thing, just reference the month of May. You'll see in the crime reports we made 4 arrests that were related to criminal activity during the month of May. Domestic violence and assaults is what stood out. Took 13 criminal offense reports. It's down from 15 of May of 2024. To date, from January 1st to now, we've taken 69 criminal offense reports, and that's compared to 79 during January through May in 2024. So we're down 10 criminal offense reports. Took 8 auto accidents during the month of May. To date, we've taken 24 auto accidents, and ironically, that's the exact same number we've taken to date last year from January to May. So we haven't seen an increase or decrease there. We responded to 180 calls for service, 21 squad runs, 6 trouble runs, 8 suspicious person or vehicles. We had 3 domestic violence calls. 2 of them resulted in arrests for domestic violence. We assisted in 22 mutual aid runs for jurisdictions surrounding us. We issued 35 traffic citations and 58 traffic warnings. Like I said, it'll be more in depth on my newsletter when I get it out on the website tomorrow. Those are the things that'll be covered in there too, which usually I have out by today, but it'll be tomorrow.
Any questions? All right, I have the Mayor's Court report for the month of May. Indian bank balance $41,379.75. Checks to be issued, State of Ohio, $960, Hamilton County, $36, and the Village of Greenhills, $3,059. Also, I wanted to make mention that the law director reviewed, everybody got a copy of the public participation decorum rules for the village. And at the next work session, I'd like to go over this again and and one of my recommendations is at the work session to pick a time for citizens' input at the work session. And possibly, we need to change the rules of council, but at least we can discuss that and try to be a little more open to getting information out or answering people's questions when they have a question, which may work better in the work session in comparison to this meeting. So like in the work session, we would cover questions on pending legislation because that's where we normally discuss it, and then other general information, and possibly eliminate the part of the work session or discussion of pending legislation in this meeting, monthly meeting. So that's all I have. I don't think I've forgotten anything else. I had a nice vacation and ready to go. Ready to go on another one. No.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
will there be in the agenda, for example, the time where that discussion will take place?
Well, we'll have to.
We have to work out the details.
We'll discuss that and
Okay.
come up with that, right.
All right.
I'll have some suggestions. Okay. All right, moving on, reports of committee, Surface and Streets, Melanie Hermes.
Thank you. We did meet yesterday. We did talk old business. We did talk about the Ingram and Farragut project, and the manager did discuss that. Just a reminder, it is not done yet. I said part of the confusing thing is the marking looks amazing. It looks finished, but then the pavement doesn't look finished. So it is not done, and so we're waiting on base repair, the hole in base repair delayed for fix, and then it'll be finished. We talked about the tree assessment. We have received the assessment for this year. It was brought up that we have been a tree city for 40 years now. I am proud of that, and I can remember projects with the trees, and I know our Girl Scouts look at the trees, and I remember in high school doing leaf projects, and a lot of the leaves I collected were from Greenhills trees, so it's nice to have the canopy here. So stump removal should be going around this week, and I know for some...
Generating the list
Yes,
for it.
generating the list for stump removal, and some other conversations were made with Urban Canopy Works LLC this week, so they're going to create a priority and strategy, and that would include the sidewalk tree trimming for walking as well. We talked a lot about trees. The CDBG, we talked about the bids, so happy to hear that we should have a resolution on from the rec committee for that. The sidewalk plan, the first phase has been done, Jennings and Ireland Walkway, some blocks on Handle and Alona, and additional phases will be planned out as well. As a reminder, homeowners, you can fix the sidewalks in front of your houses if you choose to. Do call up if you have questions. I know currently there might be some shaving later in the year, but it's not, if possible, but it's not on the books, but it was talked about a little bit in our committee. I know at our last meeting, we talked about staffing, and currently our services department is fully staffed. We also talked about the garbage bins as new business that Greenhills goes through the Center for Local Government to create garbage bins, and our current price is $14.10 per month, and there was a proposal from that would raise it to $17 per month in 2026, and then also and then it would have an increase each year, I believe, for 5 years. Of less than $1, and then the definition of unlimited garbage might have some changes to it, so we need clarification on the changes. It still sounded like a lot of garbage could still be put out. It was like up to 6 cans, or, you know, or
2 large items.
two large items. So it still sounded like a lot of garbage, but I know previously we had had unlimited amount, and I think Rumpke was the leading bid, and they wanted to clarify the unlimited garbage definition. We did talk about having a new meeting, and we hope to have the date addressed by today, but with the clarification with the clerk's schedule, I think we're going to have to get with her to get a date that will work with her as well. That is pretty much our meeting. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Community Development, Jim Bonner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Two items for this evening. The first one is to announce the 4 winners of the 2025 Spring Greenhills Beautification Awards. So we have 2 awards to be made on each side of, east and west of the village. And we will be recognizing those folks with a yard sign and a couple pool passes and a small gift card to kind of recognize the efforts that they make to keep their yards looking sharp. There were a couple folks that were nominated by neighbors or family that live in the area, and then we also drive around and check out the village on a couple occasions and make notes. And those 4 property owners that we'd like to recognize this year include 19 Burnham and 30 Day Spring. And on the east side of Winton Road, we want to recognize 73 Handle and 98 Junedale Drive. So we thank you very much to those homeowners for all the work that they do to keep their yard and property looking really sharp. The other order of business is, even though we're coming up on the 4th of July holiday, we're already thinking about 2026, because that 4th of July weekend next year will be recognition of the 250th anniversary of our country. So the America 250 celebration will be special, and we have some elements that we've been talking about. And what we want to do is make sure that the community is invited to participate in the development of these ideas that we've been kicking around for a little while. One of those is a veterans memorial in the town park and a couple other things. But the point being that we are going to put an announcement out on the village website and the Journal Facebook page to solicit interest. And we want to have folks submit a 1-page form to just kind of give us your name and your type of interest that you'd like to be involved in with this committee. And on this announcement, we'll talk about the time frame and our objectives and a few points like that, so folks know what it is that they would be interested in signing up for. So this will be a very limited engagement over the course of a few months to bring these ideas to life. So just wanted to kind of get that out there, and the intent is we're going to ask folks to make these submissions before the end of July, so that we can get folks on board with this ad hoc committee as soon as possible and get things working. So that's all I have tonight.
Great, thanks. All right, Finance and Audit, Jack Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, we met on June 5th to go over some agenda items. First and foremost on the Finance Committee agenda was the tax budget review prior to the public hearing on June 10th. And as a result of the public hearing, we will have a resolution later on to accept that tax budget for the 2026. We discussed the recreation tax levy revision with the additional wording at the county's request. I'll make special note of that when I read it tonight, so that you know what the county has asked us to add to that was already passed once. We got an update on the fire contract. It's still being reviewed at this point. And an update on the state audit, which is underway, although they are doing their audit from a remote location rather than sitting here as they have in the past. It's just their change in process. There is no reports of the general funds for the month of May at this point. We'll catch that up next month. The finance director was out of town, so we'll get that update out to you as soon as possible. Unless you have any other questions, that's the end of my report.
Safety, Jeff Alder.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We met also yesterday. It was quite a full schedule, our agenda. Chief Howarth updated us on one of the questions that came in was about the sign that Chief Neil Fertelman had put up where it says a stop, stopping is free and there's a cost, I think $170 if you roll through it. There was a question about if those signs were still being used. They are in place now. They do get rotated around. Found out that Mike Castor handles that rotation. It was our recommendation to make sure that one sign stayed on the east side of Winton and versus the west side. So those will still get put around. There was a discussion too to look into the effectiveness of those type of signs, and I think that's a valid point. Do they really actually cause people to stop? So we'll do a little bit more research on that. Other things that were helpful is to find out the difference between, and it is a judgment call, between citations and warnings, and that does fluctuate, and we definitely feel comfortable with the explanation and how that's decided. It really comes down to certain offenses. There are certain offenses that there's no warning as an option. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Chief, but I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that conversation at all.
No, I mean, like you discussed, officer discretion pretty much on majority of the violations. Yeah, there are some things we aren't going to tolerate, but a lot of times it comes down to cooperation, circumstances, and stuff that, looking into, person if they've ever had a citation and they've got history. So certainly officer discretion as far as if they feel like, they can educate and be productive by giving a warning. And we still document all those warnings that were given, so that's why you see those compared to citations, so we know how many stops we're making and so forth. Actually, I mean, I can give more information. I actually looked back after a discussion last night today and digging into more citations and warnings and majority of what the warnings are.
Yeah, like you said, a tail light out or something like that.
Top 6, looking back, actually, were stop sign and speeding. Those are our 2 moving violations that are most issued citations and most warnings also. Okay. The other 4 warnings are all equipment violations. So you're talking headlight being out, you're talking taillights being out, you're talking about license plate light being out, which a lot of people don't even know. Sometimes they have a license plate light. And then the 4th one being the expired license or expired tags. So those are the 4 equipment violations are the biggest warnings. So just to give you an example, out of those 6, out of a whole list of warnings, different types of violations, from window tint to brake lights to fail to dim their lights and stuff like that, when you take all those, just those 6 out of that, so far to date, up until today, we issued 374 warnings from traffic violations. 291 of them are those 6.
Okay. And then do you have the citation amount as well?
Yeah. We've issued 268 citations to date from January 1st through, I take that back, May 31st. 268 compared to 374 warnings.
Thank you. It was helpful to find out some of the background on that. Sometimes the data comes in and it's very broad and not very detailed. Not that the detail doesn't exist behind it, but it's helpful to find out more about it. Other suggestions, Lisa Knack had a couple suggestions which we're looking into. Turn arrow only on Bachman. People going the wrong way at that intersection quite often. We think that maybe painting an arrow, turn only arrow, might solve that. But we had to play, maybe that's more streets and services, I don't know. Hopefully it's not a safety issue, but we'll look into that. The other thing that was mentioned too was synchronization of lights on Winton Road to control the pace of traffic and the flow of traffic. That is something that is not, I believe it's Hamilton County Engineers that handles that. And my understanding is that's a long, drawn-out process, not that we shouldn't engage in it, but it isn't kind of the thing where you call and they flip a switch and come running out. I know that's been also the case in some lights that we've had out in getting Duke out here in a timely fashion. But doesn't mean we don't look at that. I think that's also something that, you know, synchronization and controlling it, and other than dropping a roundabout in the middle of Winton, you know, we're looking at ways to keep people safe as they travel down there, because some of them travel extremely fast, as you know. And then one of the big topics was just the progress on the fire contract. It has to take place, and we have to get it in place. I just want to commend, after finding more information out about it, Tony is definitely doing his part of trying to address what their concerns are. I really want to say thank you to Deb and Yvonne. Once I got a little more of a glimpse on what's going on, you know, I really, really believe that there's some key things that have to be put in this contract. We want this contract to work for both the fire department and us. We have to check all the legal boxes. It's a contract that we have to stand behind. That money is not ours. It's got to be used for fire department and protection. So, but just the fact that there's certain things that I think go unappreciated that both, you know, all parties are trying to preserve. So hopefully we'll get that resolved pretty soon, and then move on to the next step of where we are with the fire department and that contract. So that concludes my report.
Okay. Intergovernmental Affairs, Laws and Rules, Maria Walter.
We met today. The only thing we had on the agenda was trying to find out any more information, but very nicely Mr. Forbes provided that there is no new information about dog bites or dog laws or anything like that. Would you care to add anything to that, please?
No, that's, I mean, I think it's 241 is the bill number. It's in committee. No further action has been taken at this point.
And that's the only thing that I have to report. Thank you.
Okay. Recreation, Cable Television, Rachel Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With cable television, Waycross concluded their summer program, and so they're going to be having a preview in July at some point, and then I'm sure I'll have more information to follow about where everybody else can go to see it. So excited about that. I know that the kids had fun creating their storyline and getting to record everything. And then we also had a committee meeting on June 11th over there, and so we even got to see some of the equipment that they got to use and hear more stories, and so that was neat. And then recreation, we plan to have a meeting on July 2nd, but I will have to check with the law clerk to make sure that she's available. And that's it.
Okay. All right. This is the time for citizens to comment on legislation listed on the agenda for this session of council. When recognized, please come forward to the podium, complete the sign-in sheet, verbally indicate that if you're a resident of Greenhills or a non-resident, and we don't have any non-residents because nobody's asked non-resident to speak, and state your comments. Comments will be limited to 4 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Patty and I want to welcome you all. Glad you're here. I'm glad I had an opportunity to come before you. It's a nice, cool place to be for a change. First off, I just wanted to comment on how you got the entry to how we can even discuss things. Opportunity for residents and non-residents to make comments solely regarding legislation that is on current agenda. Non-residents must obtain prior permission. I would like to suggest that, I don't know if we're allowed to make motions from the audience, but nevertheless, I believe because each of you give some kind of a mini report, if we're sitting in the audience and we would like to add something to that report or commend something that's been done, I would appreciate the opportunity to plug in that you could respond to either registration or rather resolutions that are legislation that's on the agenda, or even the reports that were just given, because sometimes you do deserve a pat on the back. And I want to tell the police chief I'm amazed at what he's been doing. So just with that in mind, I'd like to comment on these resolutions. Number one, you mentioned that it has to be on the agenda, but then we have another resolution that's not listed on the agenda, so I guess we're allowed to comment on the recreation agenda or resolution. So with that in mind, let's get that out of the way first. I wonder, and again, we can't ask questions at the end, but I'm assuming we're allowed to ask questions now because we're discussing this resolution. So for recreational purposes, I would like to have identified specifically what purposes you see that this extra money is going to cover, and what is the anticipated, possibly Debbie can comment on that, what is the anticipated amount of money that's supposed to come in on this levy? It says how much it will be assessed, but it doesn't say what the anticipated amount is. And if this is effective immediate, is this considered an emergency? So that's my comment on that one. And I guess the other thing is the 7 mills. I'm confused. It seemed to me that you're saying that the millage is going to go on old valuations, not on what the auditor has today. That seems very confusing to me because the valuations on these 2 new levies were on the new assessments, so why would they make something different? So possibly someone can explain that. Then I'm wondering on this resolution authorizing to enter into contract for $113,160 for a generic town park path project. What exactly is that? Could you describe what it is you're doing and how you came up that this is a need in our community, that you would spend $113,160? How many bids did you get? Where did you get input from the public on the need or what we wanted? Because I don't recall seeing anything like that. Where did this plan generate from? Did it just pull out of the air, or you got a grant for putting in some kind of a walkway? We had a nice little golf course there for a long time. And, you know, it's sad that that's gone. I don't know how much use it was getting, but, you know, you pull something out of the air that you guys seem to feel everybody wants. I'll tell you right now, there's very few people in this community that have I'm not going to use the words, but they're going to have any idea where Spoils Field is or where your little walking path is.
Okay, thank you.
So that's where I am on that, and I'd like to have some answers. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. Moving on, we have no unfinished business. We have new business, and do want to do a motion to add the council so desires to add the resolution to authorize the contract for the path on the village park, which was, how long ago were the plans introduced on that?
5 years ago, maybe?
It was before COVID, I think. wasn't
It was, definitely.
And so it's been in the journal, it's been talked about, and the village got a grant to do it. 5 years ago, 6 years ago?
The journal?
Yeah, the Greenhills Journal? Okay.
Yeah, plus
Can we make a motion to add that to the new business?
I make a motion to add the resolution number 2025-R07, recreation, to the agenda at this time.
No, Not recreation, is it?
Recre-
Yeah, okay.
Second.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Clerk poll the council.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Mr. Warner?
Aye.
Ms. Walter? Aye. Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. All right, the first resolution is number 2025-R05-F, accepting the Greenhills 2026 tax budget. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2025-R05-F, resolution accepting the Greenhills 2026 tax budget. Now therefore it be resolved by the Council for the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, that the Council of the Village of Greenhills accepts the 2026 tax budget as prepared by the municipal manager and finance director, attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. Section 2, that this resolution shall be in full force and take effect upon its passage. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any comments, questions? All right, clerk poll the council.
Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Ms. Walter? Ms. Walter? Oh, aye. Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Mr. Warner?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2025-R05-F passes. Next resolution, number 2025-R06-F, requesting information from the Hamilton County Auditor for purposes of evaluating and levying a tax exceeding the 10 mil limitation for recreational purposes. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2025-R06-F, resolution requesting information from the Hamilton County Auditor for the purposes of evaluating and levying a tax exceeding the 10 mil limitation. Whereas the Village Council has preliminarily determined that the amount of taxes which may be raised within the 10 mil limitation will be insufficient to fund the necessary services provided by the Village of Greenhills, Hamilton County, Ohio, and whereas the primary purpose and intent of such funding is for recreational purposes as authorized by Ohio Revised Code 5705.19H of the Ohio Revised Code, and whereas Ohio Revised Code 5705.03J requires the Village Council to obtain certain information from the county auditor prior to proceeding with the submission of the renewal tax levy to the electors of the entire territory of the Village of Greenhills, with this additional wording, which exists only within Hamilton County. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, that the Village Council has preliminarily determined that it is necessary to levy a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for the benefit of the residents of Greenhills for recreational purposes as authorized by Ohio Revised Code 5705.19H for the period of 5 years. Section 2, that the renewal levy shall be submitted to the electors of the Village of Greenhills, Hamilton County, at the November general election to be held at the usual places within said Village of Greenhills on the 4th day of November 2025. Section 3, that said levy shall be placed upon the tax list for 2025 for collection in 2026 if the majority of the electors voting thereon vote in favor thereof, and that the tax be submitted to and levied upon the entire territory of the Village of Green Hills. Section 4, that the Village Council hereby requests information from the county auditor related to the current total tax valuation of the village and the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by the levy of tax at the rate not exceeding 0.70 mils for each $1 valuation for 5 years. Section 5, that the Village Council seeks the information request to present the levy on the November 4th ballot. Section 6, that the clerk of the Village Council is hereby directed to immediately certify to the county auditor this resolution and to obtain from the county auditor the information requested therein. Section 7, that this resolution shall be effect immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move for this, the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any comments?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see somebody had their hand up. I didn't mean to talk on. I just wanted to comment that this will generate about $37,000. It's a renewal, so it won't, it'll pretty much always generate that amount. As opposed to a new levy, because they're new, they're generated on the current, they're calculated on the current millage. So hopefully that helps.
I was going to say, isn't this the first resolution, except it's the second because we had to add wording? So it's us requesting information from the auditor about how much the levy would generate before we would do a resolution to place it on the ballot. So this is the first step, kind of, because we already did it before, and the auditor wanted us to add the territory of the Village of Green Hills, which exists only within Hamilton County, to the resolution.
Because some.
Because we could, because some municipalities do have
Multiple counties.
multiple
yeah.
county jurisdictions, even though we are not that close to the edge of the county. So I'm not sure why it was necessary, but we had passed it once already. This is just the auditor asking for clarification and for us to redo the resolution.
It was a recent change that was required at the end of April of this year, and everyone had to make that change. So we made that change to be very distinct, even though it doesn't affect us at all. So I will send this off tomorrow and send it down to the auditor's office. They have 10 days to do the official certification, as Melanie mentioned, and we will know exactly what it will generate and give us the statistics that I will put in the second resolution, which I will bring back to council. Let's see, we'll need to bring that back in 2 weeks. Okay, is that right? Well, the next time, no, I think we still have, we will have time.
It'll be tight.
Yes, yeah.
But I think we have until
Yes.
early August.
So there will be another resolution coming to complete that, and then I send, the entire packet on from there.
And also because it's a renewal levy, which is why we use the old valuation, is because it's been a levy that we've renewed over several times. So that since it's a renewal is one of the reasons, or the reason we use the old valuation.
Does that stick to what was first passed?
Yeah.
This is just all new. It's from when the first time it was passed, it sticks there. Is that?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, clerk poll the council.
Mr. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Hudson,
Aye.
Mr. Borner,
Aye.
Ms. Wather,
Aye.
Mr. Halter,
Aye.
Ms. Hermes.
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2025 R06F passes. Next resolution is number 2025 R07 REC, authorizing the municipal manager to enter into a contract with Ohio Heavy Equipment and Leasing, DBA Loveland Excavating and Paving, in the amount not to exceed $113,160 for the Town Park Path project. And who's reading that?
I am.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution number 2025-R07-REC, authorizing the municipal manager to enter into a contract with Ohio Heavy Equipment and Leasing, doing business as Loveland Excavating and Paving, in an amount not to exceed $113,160 for the Town Park Path project. Whereas the village has learned that it is the recipient of a grant through the Community Development Block Grant Program for a path construction project, and whereas bids were obtained for such project, and whereas Ohio Heavy Equipment and Leasing, doing business as Loveland Excavating and Paving, was the lowest and best bidder with a bid of $113,160, and whereas it is the desire of Village Council to enter into a contract with Ohio Heavy Equipment and Leasing, DBA Loveland Excavating and Paving, for the project. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, members elected thereto concurring, Section 1, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to enter into a contract with Ohio Heavy Equipment and Leasing, doing business as Loveland Excavating and Paving, for the Town Park Path project pursuant to the terms of the accepted bid. Section 2, that the finance director is hereby authorized to pay Ohio Heavy Equipment and Leasing, DBA Loveland Excavating and Paving, an amount not to exceed $113,160 pursuant to the terms of the contract. Section 3, that this resolution shall take effect and be in force immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt this resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions?
I guess
Okay.
I will let you know that we had received 4 bids. The lowest bid, obviously, we're talking about tonight at $113,160. Ford Development submitted a bid at $176,832. Brack and Ballauer Excavating at $200,000, and Cruz Construction at $224,550. So that was a really good turnout. Those are some pretty heavy hitters, but makes sense really that the person with the equipment is going to get it, because it's more of that kind of a project than a paving project. So we're excited to have that whole process. In addition to our engineers being involved, the Community Development Office of Hamilton County oversees all the requirements for the Community Development Block Grant Program, which is partially funding this project. And as far as the park project itself and the path, at the time I remember we were going after Nature Works, a Nature Works grant that required public hearings. We actually had 2. One was specifically to all the people whose property abuts the golf course property, Ingram, that whole area around in there. And then one was open to the residents of Greenhills at large. Both were very well attended. We got a lot of good information. It's been on the website for years.
And we brought in a specialist too, didn't we have
Right,
drawings
yes,
done
to
that
design
were
it.
present there? I just, because I was on community development at the time, there's no doubt we have a lot of history with the golf course, but not official. It's not historic and part of the original plan, but the use of the golf course was extremely low for the amount of money we were spending to keep those greens green, and we tried a number of things to make that work, and it just made no financial sense based on the usage. And then the next question is, what do you do with that piece of property? We could just let it be, and it could grow up and be just, woods and trees eventually. I do think that it's a wise decision to, and I felt the community felt it at that time, and I know it was so long ago, that, making it a park that you could walk through. We have some seating that'll be there as well. There's just, it's going to be maintained better in its upcoming state than it would be if we just had a block of green space in the center of the community. I think it's a really good use of funds. I'm really grateful that we have a matching grant to help us with that.
Okay. Clerk poll the council.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Mr. Warner?
Aye.
Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Okay. Resolution number 2025 R07 REC passes. All right, moving on. No other business. Council members, any council members have any comments they want to make? Move on. I'll make one comment that I should have made in my mayor's report, but if we continue with the dry weather, if you have any trees out in front of your property, especially young trees, water them. It's expensive to replace them, and it's an asset that you really don't want to lose. So, okay, municipal calendar.
Can I add one thing to that as
Sure.
well? I don't know if it came up, I thought we talked about at the work session that the 3 trees that were plowed over by, we believe, a truck have been replaced, and they look good. I mean, they're good size, like you said, and it's nice that that's been taken care of, and I see that the water bags are on those.
Okay, calendar?
We're going to adjust ours based on the new availability criteria, so.
4th of July, just a reminder, the offices will be closed.
Community Development will meet again on July 22nd, 5:30.
Laws and Rules will meet on July 22nd at 6, and also wanted to remind the Park Talk on July the 17th at 6 o'clock.
Recreational meet on July 2nd at 10 a.m. as long as it works with the council clerk.
Just a reminder that the concert on the Common has been canceled for tomorrow night due to weather. Make sure to sign up for the headlines so you can get the notifications as well.
Okay. This is an opportunity for residents and non-residents to appear before council. Non-residents must obtain prior permission. It's time for citizens to comment on matters before council. When recognized, please come forward to the podium. Complete the sign-in sheet. Verbally indicate if you're a resident of Greenhills or a non-resident, then state your comments. If you have questions, the questions will be recorded and referred to the manager's office for response. This will allow time for thoughtful and thorough consideration to be given to each question. Council meetings are recorded for ease of transcription. Comments are limited to 4 minutes. Speakers may not yield any or all of their time to other speakers.
I'm a resident of Greenhills. On April 15th of 2024, I contacted the city manager's office about flooding that I'm experiencing. At that time, they told me to send pictures of what I'm experiencing in a summary, and I did, and I never got a response. I followed up with I think it was Mary Ann, twice by email, twice by phone. I've left messages with the office. And then through the city managers, or on the website, you can contact the city manager. I left a message on there about not getting messages. The response I got was a voicemail from Mary Ann asking if I got contacted. So the person I complained was not contacting me, asking, it's so at that point I pretty much got discouraged and figured nobody's going to help me. Luckily, that we had the drought last year, and I had a break from the deluge I have to experience every time it rains. December 30th, I went in to the office to get records for my neighbor's property to see if there's any anything resulting with drainage, the deck, or this porch. I was told Brenda handles that. She'd be back on January 6th. Later that month, on the 27th, I put the request in writing. And on the 23rd of February, I followed up. I still hadn't heard anything. I was told the records were kept, the old records are kept by year and month, not by parcel. And that they're extremely difficult to find. The next day, I got a response saying there was no records for, no permits for a porch that was put on the property, the deck that was built, or anything else. So no permits or certificates of zoning certification. So the question is, would that indicate that it's an unlawful structure if there is no records for it being put up? Yeah, so the amount of water that I have to deal with is insane. I mean, it flows over the ground, it originates from under my neighbor's deck, goes down my yard, and if it's raining hard enough, it'll go up against the house and eventually seep its way through over the foundation and down into my basement. I have 50 videos of this. You can watch the water go and then into my, well, I stop it from going to my house now, but anyway, contact, working with the city's office to get this fixed has been a nightmare. It's, you contact one person to contact the manager, and then that is, told to the assistant then tells it to me, and you don't know who's responding to who, and it makes it ultra confusing. And ultimately, it was found that, even with all that, you can't determine, quote unquote, any violations. And then later, I have a picture of my neighbor's downspout, which diverts across his back porch within a few feet of my property line, and you can see it from his house, diverted, the spout that goes underneath the ground, it diverts away from that, goes to my fence.
Okay, your time's up.
And my neighbor is Mr. Lee.
Okay.
So.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? Anybody else?
60 Japonka Drive. 60 Japonka.
Yeah. Anybody else want to make a comment? All right.
Lisa Knack, resident of Greenhills. I actually want to compliment the company, Grounds Pro, that does the mowing and trimming.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
It's significant difference and a tremendous improvement. The park the green space that's behind my house, they do a great job with trimming the sidewalks. They come up to my property, the fence line, this is the first time I remember that being done as long as I've lived there, since 1997. So I can't say enough about Grounds Pro. I really appreciate the diligence and the care that they take in tending to the village property. Thank you.
Okay. And I'm going to put this in committee. You make a report to committee. Committee. Community development or service and streets. Okay. Yeah. All right. Anybody else? Was it, didn't the soil and water people agree with it?
All right. Monique Mason-Halter, Greenhills resident. As I've mentioned at past council meetings, there are federal bills being rushed through that will eliminate municipal control over the installation of wireless infrastructure, including small cell towers and antennas. I've provided you with printed materials from different organizations to review and perhaps participate in. Tonight, I'm referring you to another online campaign, an action alert. Children's Health Defense started it on June 18th. Strengthen wireless radiation protections in the next MAHA report, Make America Healthy Again report. It's easy to participate, so emails can be sent to lawmakers. I've provided you with a printout including text and the link from the webpage. I'll now read excerpts from the pre-written email to lawmakers. Wireless radiation is one of the fastest growing environmental exposures of our time, and the science documenting its health effects, especially for children, is clear, urgent, and growing. The May MAHA report fell short in its treatment of this issue. As the August update is developed, I strongly urge decision makers to, 1, recognize RF radiation as a major contributor to chronic childhood illness. 2, include a fuller scientific analysis of RF radiation exposure, including findings from the most recent World Health Organization recent 2025 literature review. 3, highlight the disproportionate impact of wireless radiation on children's neurological, immune, and reproductive systems. 4, commit to further rigorous study of the mechanisms of harm. 5, provide guidance and recommended protective measures parents, schools, and local governments can take. I'd like to thank council members again for passing a protective ordinance to regulate small cell deployment here and for writing a letter to the Federal Communications Commission to ask that the agency comply with the 2021 court order to address scientific evidence related to the health and environmental impacts of RF wireless radiation. 13 Ohio state lawmakers have also sent letters to the agency. I ask again to council members to consider strengthening our municipal ordinance to prevent unnecessarily wireless deployment, including small cell towers. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Before we adjourn, I'll make a comment about the water problem. The manager said she'll have a report for council on the communications back and forth. Normally when I got involved in these kinds of issues, recommended to people to use the Hamilton County Soil and Water that are willing to come out to do an evaluation on water problems such as that. So she'll put her report together.
Are there not investigations for building permits, violations, suspicion of violation?
She'll have a report on whatever she's come up with. Okay, meeting adjourned.
She didn't speak yet. I'm
Oh.
here to speak. You
You
know
seem
you
like-
want to hear from me, Dave. You know it.
Okay, all right, yeah. Sorry, Pat.
Okay. Thank you. I want to say how much I appreciate the respect that Yvonne gave in terms of actually trying to answer something that I had questioned, because I was wondering if I did have feedback. Thank you. I did work for my name is Patty Ann Vaughn. I'm a decade long, it dawned on me today, 5 decades I've been associated with Village of Greenhills and coming to your meetings more regularly since I've lived here. So anyhow, I've learned quite a bit, and one of the things I really value living on Chalmers Lane is the beauty of the Greenhills Presbyterian Church, which is right at the corner of Cromwell Road and Winton. And by now, I'm sure that all of you know it's for sale. And it's been on the market for 2.5 months. Here's the marketing information that you can have for your file. And I will email this information to each one of you. I had the pleasure of meeting with the realtor along with Ms. Knack and a couple other residents. And it seems like there's a lot of potential there. There really is a lot of potential. The pricing is overboard, I do believe. We identified a number of hurdles in terms of air conditioning and so forth, but I do think that it's really worthy of consideration. Now, I actually had AI assist me in composing a petition, and I'm going to read this to you because I think AI did a hell of a good job. So, the issue. The Greenhills Community Church Presbyterian, located at the corner of Winton and Cromwell Roads, is an iconic part of our community's history and serves as a potent symbol of our collective identity in Greenhills, Ohio 45218. Did AI grow up here? I don't know. This historic building has served the community faithfully for generations, fostering a sense of belonging and community spirit. It is now imperative for the Village of Greenhills to take proactive steps to ensure the preservation of this vital landmark by purchasing it for use as an administrative office and a community center, possibly even a cooling center. Transforming the Greenhills Community Church into a multifunctional space, you could have your police parties there, little gatherings, with strategic objectives to preserve and repurpose landmarks while also fostering community engagement in Greenhills. By owning the property, the village has an opportunity to respect its historical roots and provide modern convenience to its residents. This will take some doing because they need renovation, but that's what we're all about here, right? We try to preserve things. We urge the Village Council to consider a positive social, cultural, and economic impacts that purchasing and repurposing this property will bring to Greenhills. This strategic acquisition will not only preserve a piece of our history, but also help meet contemporary needs, creating a more cohesive and connected community. Now, wouldn't that be nice? That would be so nice. Because when I moved here in 1976, by golly, that's what it was. We can do that again. Your support in signing this petition can drive the momentum needed to achieve this significant milestone for our village. Join us in preserving our heritage and enhancing the lives of Greenhills residents. I haven't really circulated this as yet because I think it's you people to start considering this. How much more valuable would it be for our community as a whole to have a community center? Recreation, we could have an exercise, we could have a cooling center, we have a place for the police to be, all these things. That's an investment. It's an investment in our people, not in where they're going to walk, not where they're going to park to the other side of town. So I really think it's time for you to consider a feasibility study, and you can do a first offer of refusal pending on the results of your feasibility study. Thank you.
Thank you. And sorry that I missed you there. Steve.
Oh, you knew this was a good one. For months I didn't criticize.
All right, meeting adjourned.